हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब अच्छे होंगे। चैप्टर नंबर 52, द स्काई स्टीला, फ्रॉम द बुक थीफ, रिटन बाय मार्कस ज़्यूज़ैक। मेरी रीडिंग कैसी लगी दोस्तों, आप मुझे बताइए कमेंट्स में ज़रूर। एंड थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग, सब्सक्राइबिंग एंड माय व्यूअर्स, थैंक यू फॉर एवरीवन। लाइक भी ज़रूर करिएगा और नेक्स्ट बुक कौन सी लूँ मैं कमेंट्स में मुझे ज़रूर से बताइए। The first raid, as it turned out, was not a raid at all. Had people waited to see the planes, they could have stood there all night. That accounted for the fact that no cuckoo had called from the radio. The Morjing Express reported that a certain flag tower operator had become a little overexcited. He did sworn that he could hear the rattle of planes and see them on the horizon. He sent the word. He might have done it on purpose, Hans Huberman pointed out. Would you want to sit in a flag tower, shooting up at planes carrying bombs? Sure enough, as Max continued reading the article in the basement, it was reported that the man with the outlandish imagination had been stood down from his original duty. His fate was most likely some sort of service elsewhere. Good luck to him, Max said. He seemed to understand as he moved on to the crossword. The next raid was real. On the night of September 19, the cuckoo called from the radio and it was followed by a deep informative voice. It listed Mulching as a possible target. Again, Himmel Street was a trial of people, and again Papa left his accordion. Rosa reminded him to take it, but he refused. I didn't take it last time, he explained, and we left. War clearly blurred the distinction between logic and superstition. Airy airflow followed them down to the fiddler's basement. I think it's real tonight, said Mr. Fiddler, and the children quickly realized that their parents were even more afraid this time around, reacting the only way they knew. The youngest of them began to wail and cry as the room seemed to swing. Even from the cellar, they could vaguely hear the tune of bombs. Air pressure shoved itself down like a ceiling as if to match the earth. A bite was taken of Molching's empty streets. Rose held furiously onto Liegel's hand. The sound of crying children kicked and punched. Even Rudy stood completely erect, feigning non-challenge, tensing himself against the tension. Arms and elbows fought for room. Some of the adults tried to calm the infants, others were unsuccessful in calming themselves. Shut up, kid, Frau Zapfel clamored, but her sentence was just another hapless voice in the warm chaos of the shelter. Grimy tears were loosened from children's eyes, and the smell of night breath, underarm sweat, and overworn clothes was stewed in. Water was now a cauldron swimming with humans. Although they were right next to each other, Liegel were forced to call out, Mama again. Mama, you are squashing my hand. What? My hand? Rosa released her and for comfort to shut out the din of the basement. Liegel opened one of her books and began to read. The book on top of the pile was The Whistler, and she spoke it aloud to help her concentrate. The opening paragraph was numb in her eyes. What did you say? Mama roared, but Liegel ignored her. She remained focused on the first page. When she returned to page 2, it was Rudy who noticed. He paid direct attention to what Liegel was reading, and he tapped his brother and his sisters, telling them to do the same. Hans Huberman came closer and called out, and soon a quietness started bleeding through the crowded basement. By page 3, everyone was silent but Liegel. She didn't dare to look up, but she could feel the frightened eyes hanging on her as she hauled the words in and breathed them out. A voice played the notes inside her. This is, said, is your accordion. The sound of the turning page carved them in half. Liegel read on. For at least 20 minutes, she handed out the story. The youngest kids were suited by her voice, and everyone else saw visions of the Whistler running from the crime scene. Liesl did not. The book thief only saw the mechanics of the words, their bodies stranded on the paper, beaten down for her to walk on. Somewhere too in the gaps between a full stop and the next capital letter there was also Max. She remembered reading to him when he was sick. Is he in the basement, she wondered, or he is stealing a glimpse of the sky again? A nice thought. One was a book thief, the other stole the sky. Everyone waited for the ground to shake. That was still an immutable fact, but at least they were distracted now by the girl with the book. One of the younger boys contemplated crying again, but Liesl stopped at that moment and imitated her papa, or even Rudy for that matter. She winked at him and resumed. Only when the silence leaked into the cellar again did someone interrupt her. "We are safe," said Mr. Jensen. "Shh," said Frau Holzapfel. Liesl looked up. "There are only 2 paragraphs till the end of the chapter," she said, and she continued reading with no fanfare or added speed, just the words. Duden Dictionary meaning. What word, a meaningful unit of language, a promise, a short remark, statement, or conversation. Related words, term, name, expression. Out of respect, the adults kept everyone quiet, and Liesl finished chapter 1 of the Whistler. On their way up the stairs, the children rushed by her, but many of the other older people, even Frau Holzapfel, even Pfiffikus, how appropriate considering the title she read from, thanked the girl for the distraction. They did so as they made their way past and hurried from the house, so to see if Himmel Street had sustained any damage. Himmel Street was untouched. The only sign of war was a cloud of dust migrating from east to west. It looked through the windows, trying to find a way inside, and as it simultaneously thickened and spread, it turned the trial of humans into apparitions. There was no people on the street anymore. There are rumors. They were rumors carrying bags. At home, Papa told Max all about it. There's a fog and ash. I think they let us out too early. He looked to Rosa. Should I go out to see if they need help where the bombs dropped? Rosa was not impressed. Don't be so idiotic, she said. You will choke on the dust. No, Sokol, you are staying here. A thought came to her. She looked at Hans very seriously now. In fact, her face was crayon with pride. Stay here and tell him about the girl. Her voice loudened just slightly about the book. Max gave her some added attention. The Whistler, Rosa informed him. Chapter 1. She explained exactly what had happened in the shelter. As Liesl stood in a corner of the basement, Max watched her and rubbed a hand along his jaw. Personally, I think that was the moment he conceived the next body of work for his sketchbook, the word shaker. He imagined the girl reading in the shelter. He must have watched her literally handing out the words. However, as always, he must also have seen the shadow of Hitler. He could probably already hear his footsteps coming towards Himmel Street and the basement for later. After a lengthy pause, he looked ready to speak, but Liesl beat him to it. Did you see the sky tonight? No. Max looked at the wall and pointed. On it, they all watched the words and the picture he did painted more than a year earlier, the rope and the dripping sun. Only that one tonight, and from there no more was spoken, nothing but the thoughts. Max, Hans and Rosa I cannot account for, but I know that Liesl Meminger was thinking that if the bombs ever landed on Himmel Street, not only did Max have less chance of survival than everyone else, but he would die completely alone. यहाँ पे होता है हमारा चैप्टर नंबर 52 ख़त्म, द स्काई स्टीलर। मिलेंगे हम नेक्स्ट चैप्टर में, द चैप्टर 53, फ्रॉ होल्ज़ेफिल्स ऑफर, फ्रॉम द बुक थीफ, रिटन बाय मार्कस ज़्यूज़ैक। Bye for now, friends. Thank you and thank you very much. Bye for now.